Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this video I actually wanted to share something really cool with you that I just learned recently, and I think it's really important to know for people who use the Substance 3D suite. This is about how you can create a fabric material in Sampler in the easiest way, and how you can use it in Stager to texture certain products that you would like to try. So let's get started. This is the pattern that I created in Illustrator. So as you can see, these are the little layers and everything. And when I was ready with this, I exported this as a JPEG file. And I want to create a fabric material out of this. So I go to Sampler. I create a new material, and here in your assets panel, you can find, for example, this is going to be like at the base of the whole material. I will go with denim. So now I have this cool denim material, you can see. And I will just drop the picture, the JPEG, on the top of it like this. And you have to change the image to base color so that Sampler knows that you want to use it as a base color. Yeah, I changed the texture scale. But you can, here in the viewer settings, you can change a whole bunch of things. But it was very easy until now. So now I have this very cool fabric material. Let's check how it looks on cloth. Yep, so this is how it's going. Here is the 2D view of the image. You can see that. And you can turn on the shadows. Now it looks more realistic, and you can look at it from more angles. I'm really happy with this this material now. You can also change the environment light, and then you get a different result. I just like to stick to the studio lights because then the colors are more accurate, let's say. You can also turn it around, rotation, intensity. Actually, the preview sphere is my favorite to use for these kind of things because of all these little details that you can see how your material is behaving. I really like this stuff. We can try it with different images actually. I will show you a couple of other things that you can do. For example, I want to use another image as a base color. What I do is just change this from scan to base color. And there you go. So this is another material. Let's switch off the shadows. So now you can see that these are all the details on everything. It looks really good. You can change the tiling in the viewport. Also the scale of the height map, for example. Yep, I don't want to change this because I like the way it looks. Yeah, so let's get back to the original idea. There are a bunch of things that you can do with your material. For example, you can change the colors, and you can add, for example, color variations. And this is really cool because you can change it as much as you want. So you can add as much color as you want, and by changing this color, you can you can create like different color variations of the same pattern. Yeah, okay, it's gonna look very ugly now, but just don't mind. I just wanna show you guys what you can do with this. And that's, I don't know, orange. So yeah, this is the same pattern in a different color variation. So yeah, okay, let's not make this hella ugly. I think I need one more. Yeah. You can of course use hex codes or whatever you need actually. Okay, still very ugly. Okay, let's not bother it anymore. So yeah, yeah. So this is the material. You can also add stuff, for example, like dust and discarded gums and dirt and some other really fun things. Yeah, let's get rid of the color variations for now because I don't want to use it anyway. And this is the dirt. So we can see it on this map how it looks. So dirt is something that like gets stuck in the little holes of the fabric, for example. There are other things like discarded gums if you feel like adding something like this to the material. Let's make it like, I don't know, let's take a color sample. Oh wow, it's red, okay. Can get a lot of them. Okay, so yep. So now it looks really dirty and not so nice. But if you need it for some projects, it might be useful to know that you can add stuff like this to your material. So these are the things that you can just try. Moss, for example. Let's see what it's doing. Oh wow. Okay. Oh, this looks fun. Let's try this green. Secondary moss color, let's make it blue. Okay. Very interesting. Wow. And now we get a really like a really mossy material. Okay, but for this project, we actually don't need any of this. We also don't really need the discarded gums. Maybe just for the fun of it, I will just leave like this much. Let's make it like white. Something like this, just to keep it. Yep. This. Okay. It's still too big. Anyway, maybe not. So we will keep just the dirt for now, and yep, like this. It will look nice. Okay, so now that we have this material ready, we can say. What you can do with it is you can send it to, if you want to use a Substance 3D Painter or Designer, or what I like to do is like I export the maps and we will call it Fabric Geometric. And we are going to save it here. Yeah, I will just stick to the 2K now for the time being. You can select all the maps that you want to use. I think I don't need any of those, just like what you can see here. And I click export and oh yeah, file size, sorry, JPEG. And now we export and you can see the process that this is actually exporting currently. Okay, so this is what we got. As you can see, I have a haze map. Okay, you cannot really see. Or maybe you can, but I will zoom in. You can see this details of the fabric. This is what I wanted actually. And now we can go to Stager and we can put it on a product. Let's see how it's working. Oh, I'm obsessed with the couch. This couch. Oh, I love this couch. So let's frame it. And I will start with the base material. Like this, for example. And then you have to look for the material layers, and then you just have to find a place for all these textures. Where they go. Of course, I lost my folder. Yep, here we go. So base material, drag and drop. A base color, sorry. The next one is metallic. We don't have metallic, so I just leave it blank because I don't want it to be metallic. We have a roughness map. Let's see how it turned out. Yeah, nice and rough. And we have a normal map, which is going to give us hopefully a little bit more texture feeling, like a fabric feeling. Yep, and there we go. So now you can already see how it looks. Let's scale it a bit differently. So now you can see that, oh wow, we have a funny couch. It looks really amazing. Where are the, okay, so this is the frame, these are the legs. Okay, so for the legs, we will just put them in a group. We will use another material, which is going to be something like wood, maybe. Pine wood, let's try. There it is. Let's turn it to like 90 degrees so it looks a little bit more good. Oh yeah, now I see the nice wood details over there. So there is one more thing that we can do. I want to change the scaling a little bit more. And we can try what's happening with the haze map, but yeah, these are very nuanced details. Let's add the haze map to here. You can see that what I like to do is that I go to the edge of the model and then like this blue line will help me to show what is actually happening. So you can choose between two tessellation modes. One is per angle or total face budget. I think for this one I will go for the total face budget, but we have to try. And then you can change the scale Yeah, you can see a very slight movement, but it's because maybe my texture is not like high res enough. Yeah, but here you can see better the movement. Anyway, we need more. Say 300,000. Now it looks a little bit better. So, yep, we go for realism. So in real life, this would look like this, maybe, or even more like this. Okay, so we have this really interesting looking couch now. Let's see what happens if we render it. Yep. So this is the couch, and this is how we can try how this fabric material will look on an actual product. So we can change the light if we are not happy with it. So for example, studio lights. So we have a lot more light. We are going for plasticity, so the lights and shadows should support the plasticity of this overall render. I still don't like this. Let's use this one maybe. Now we are somewhere getting somewhere there. Yeah, so now we have lights and shadows and everything, nice contrasts. Let's add something to the background. What could it be? Yeah, of course. Like this, for example. I really like to create this fictional stuff with Stager. Something that would not exist in real life at all. Add something to it like just this denim. Change the color to something like this. Repetition. Nice, looks like a carpet kind of thing. And you can actually use whatever you feel like as a backdrop for your project. Let's add the camera. Let's see how it's looking. So now we have a camera. You can select the view and the resolution of your render. So I think I will go with something like this. It's off. The rendering. Yeah, this way a little bit. And just add a wall or something that is not completely blank over there. I'm completely going rogue on this one. Yeah, like this. So we have the couch, we have a backdrop. Let's say I want to use some kind of white color for this one. Something like, I don't even know if I want to add any surface to this, to be honest, because what I want to do is to use the camera. I use the depth of field, which is something really cool. You can just set a focus point. Let's make like this part, for example, in the focus. No. And then everything will be just blurry in the background, so you can even make this like red or anything you feel like dark purple. Maybe that would look better. Let's take a color sample from here just for fun. Looks interesting. So yeah, so this is how it looks. A little couch with the custom-made fabric material. I think I will just switch off the displacement because at the end it's not really ideal. I like it better with just the normal map on it. Let's add one more camera. I mean, this one I will go closer just to show the details, and the focus point is the same. So then here you can see the details of the fabric very nicely. Yeah, next step would be to add some stitching because that would look really good here, but you can only do that in Substance Painter. Okay, so we are ready. And now it's time for rendering. Okay, I always use this custom preset because I found that this is something that works very quickly for me, and I just save it to a folder. Yep, and you can just check the cameras you want to render. So let's say I want to render these two cameras, so I will go with that one. You can override the resolution if you want, or just go with the one that you selected at first. And now it's time for rendering. Here we go. Okay, so let's talk about what happens when we open these renders in Photoshop. So as you can see, we will get a bunch of layers that are extra. For example, they're called additional layers. Material selection mask, object selection masks, and depth map. Depth map is very useful actually. Maybe there is another way to use it, but the way I use it, if I want to use it, is that I use the select and color range, and then I pick the lightest or the darkest point. It depends on how I feel like. This is how you can change this, but I think it's okay like this. And then I just duplicate the layer and I use it as a mask. So now it's the top layer, like this is masked. And how do we want to do this? Curves. And now you can see that that is the area that is masked, so that you can change what's happening over there. Actually, I want to do it differently, so invert. And then we go image adjustment, curves maybe, curves. So now you can see that this part is going to be like more lit than the other part. Okay, let's say that we like it like this. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. If I want to do some other things, maybe convert to smart object and camera raw filter. And this way we have a lot more control over the shadows and a bunch of other things. Like less contrast, more contrast, less vibrance, more vibrance, the way you feel like. Add a bit more texture. And maybe like a little bit of vignetting. Yeah. So I like it like this. Yeah. What I did in the meanwhile is that I created a couple of other renders that I wanted to show you. For this, I changed just the base color to another image map, and I kept all the other maps, and it just turned out funny, like really interesting. You can still see the fabric details because of the normal map and everything, but what I did after this is that I actually created a product, like a different product. Like this is a duffel bag that comes with a stager, and you can just texture it the way you like it. So you can just try the fabric material that you created. You can see all the nice fabric details and everything. And this is a t-shirt, a folded t-shirt. I just changed the material of the couch to leather, so there is a little bit more contrast in the materials, so that is like shiny and rough and all that. So yeah, let's edit this. A bit more exposure. I want vignetting, of course. Let's do it heavy, just so the eye can focus to the important things. Make it a little bit more crunchy. It's okay like this. Yep, so it's kind of like this is what I wanted to do. And now it's ready to be sent out or do whatever you feel like doing with it. So there would be like so many other things that we could mention, but I think for this video that was all. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments, and I will try to answer it as much as I can. And thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye!